What does it mean to be an American? What does it mean to belong somewhere? To really feel at home? These are the questions that have haunted me ever since we left our country in Afghanistan and we arrived here in Houston almost 13 years ago. For me, my life and my destiny changed as a 7-year-old when one night in Kabul, Afghanistan, armed men stormed into our community shelter and rounded up all the men present, including my father, with the intention of taking them to the front lines. Anyone who resisted was either tortured or killed right there on the spot, as an example for others. The year was 1992. The last Soviet soldier had recently left the country. It was the end of the Cold War, but it was actually the beginning of a brutal civil war for Afghanistan that displaced millions of people, millions of Afghans throughout the rest of the world. And I ended up here in front of you today. We're all different, but not really. I think and I believe that God created different nations, different countries, different races, different people in different circumstances, so that we may all get to know each other and realize that despite the differences that we feel we have, we're so much alike. We all have the same values. We want the same ideals for ourselves and our loved ones. You know, it's peace, safety, happiness, a better life. And that does not change whether you're from Houston or whether you're from Kabul, Afghanistan, whether you're from Pakistan, whether from your Sudan or whatever, like whatever part of the world you are, you're a human being. And that's what keeps us connected. What I have common with every refugee is that none of us wanted to leave our countries, but we were forced. And for me and my family, it was that moment when we felt that home was not safe anymore. It was time to go. I was 7 years old when I left home. 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to return back to Afghanistan. I graduated college, and I was deployed to Afghanistan to work with the U.S. Army, with the Army Rangers in southern Afghanistan as a linguist. I speak 4 languages, and I was hired as a cultural advisor. I was excited in that moment because here was an opportunity for me to go back and get connected to my roots, go back home to my country, to my land, to my people. And I was really excited about that opportunity. Finally, I was going to fill that gap that I had always felt. I was going home and getting reconnected. But once I got there, man, I was disappointed. It was not the country that I thought it would be. The people were different. The culture was different. And the Afghans sensed it, and they sensed something in me, and now I was different for them. I was not an Afghan. I was a foreigner. I never felt welcomed at home. A foreigner that, by the way, was working with the U.S. Army. I worked there for 3 years. And what's even more strange about my story is that during those 3 years, I also felt with my American counterparts that I was working that sometimes they never saw me as an American. I was not born and raised in America, so I was not American enough. And to my Afghans, I was not Afghan enough. And I think all of us refugees, we can relate to that. So again, what does it mean to be an American, and what does it mean to feel at home, to really belong somewhere? I believe to be an American, you have to be the protector, the promoter, and the supporter of three values. And it doesn't matter what your background you come from. The three values. 1, resiliency. 2, hard work. 3, optimism about future. Resiliency. Every refugee has this value in their heart. They've been through some tough times, and only resiliency got them through it. When we left Afghanistan to Pakistan, and before coming to Houston, there was a period of 10 years in between, during which my family and I had to start life from scratch at least 3 times. We had to move from city to city, from a refugee camp to another refugee camp, from country to country, from Afghanistan to Pakistan, finally here to the US. And every time we got uprooted, something got disturbed. We had to rebuild and redevelop life again. But it was that resiliency that got us through it all. So every refugee that you will meet, you will see they have that value. Hard work. As a refugee, when you have to restart things from scratch again, it takes a lot of hard work. My father was a civil engineer back home, and when we moved to Pakistan, he was forced to sell toys on the streets. He had to swallow his pride and do whatever it took to provide for his family. Yet at the same time, he had to get adapted and adjusted to the new culture, the new language, the new country, the new system. And it took a lot of hard work. When I came to Houston, I was 16 years old, trying to finish high school and trying to keep up with 2 jobs. My mother worked a graveyard shift at a local packaging plant, all while trying to raise 3 kids and be there for them. And we all, as a family, had to work really hard and be there for each other during those tough times. And every refugee can relate to that. As refugees, I believe sometimes we have to work twice as hard as anyone else. You still have to learn the language, the culture. You're new, get used to the new laws and whatnot. But only with hard work can you survive and thrive. Optimism about future. You have to be optimistic, because without something to look forward to, without hope, hard work and resiliency, they will not generate anything. And it's that hope for peace, the hope for happiness, for a better life, is what got us to be where we are right now as a family here in Houston. I think it's the optimism that my mother no longer works at a packaging plant, but she has been serving as an assistant teacher at an HISD elementary school, working with special needs children. And she's proud of that. I see hard work and resiliency and optimism in my younger brother, who just graduated from the University of Houston, and he's passionate about starting his business here in our town. And finally, last but not least, I saw optimism and the power of resiliency and hard work in my sister. She went through a lot, and I hope no child goes through anything like that. A life marked by war, displacement, discrimination, and sometimes hatred, just because she's not from that country. But because of those 3 values, she is now in California finishing her medical residency. Dr. Abida Faiz. That's my sister. And only God Almighty knows how many lives she will save, how many families will be treated by her care and kindness, and the impact of that on the lives of the people that she will be treating. It takes optimism, something to look forward to. I will say this, that none of this would have been possible for me and my family when we left Afghanistan, not knowing where we were going to end up. But when we came to Houston, the city embraced us. The city welcomed us. The beautiful nonprofit organizations that exist to serve the refugee population, they're amazing, amazing people. It was the city, it was right here on this campus that my sister and we got our associate degrees from. Right here at HCC. And I see all of you to be the protectors, the supporters, and the promoters of those three values. You guys have made sure that all the refugees that come here, they get nourished with love, with kindness, with respect, so that they could live up to their truest potentials and serve our community and our country. I will say this, that without the love and support of you guys, I would not have been here today. The impact on my family, we would not have experienced the kind of life that we're experiencing right now. And it's all because of you. And if we don't take the responsibility to protect, to promote, and support those values, and embrace all these people who are coming from different parts of the world who are so much similar to us, if we don't take that responsibility, no one will. And finally, I leave you with this thought that there is no future that we're all going to. There is no future. The only future that exists is the one that we all create today, right now. Thank you so much.